after we move past seeing and hearing, I want to focus in on what we're looking at in regard to attention. Now, in terms of attention, it's affected by all of your senses, and we can describe it in a lot of different ways. What you really need is perceptual readiness in order to focus your attention. If you're primed to hear a certain sound or see a certain image, then you're more likely to actually identify the sound or image. For example, I'm always ready for a child to wake up from a nap in my household, and especially my 1-year-old, because he just is not happy until you pick him up and give him a bottle. Now, when it comes to about 45 minutes after I put him down, my ears are primed to listen for that sound. And that really helps me to identify, especially if I'm all the way on the other side of the house doing laundry. And if you think about it, we prime ourselves in many different ways, or we ready ourselves perceptually in a number of different ways to hear, to see, to perceive a certain stimulus. Now, selective attention is when we choose to focus on one particular stimulus instead of another one, and it helps us to choose what's most important and what we value, and it's usually based on interest. And you might have gotten in trouble for selectively attending to something that another person thought you shouldn't be valuing or as interested in as you were, and that happens because we value and we're interested in different things, and it can lead to some miscommunication. Now, there are a number of ways that we can learn to focus our attention and to focus on certain stimuli. Now, first of all, we need to learn how to reduce distractions, and that is determining what's a distraction to you, because obviously not everybody's distracted by the same environmental conditions. Now, some of you might be really distracted by music going on in the background or a television blaring, or you might be really distracted talking to a friend if you have your phone on because you really want to answer it if it rings and you're too distracted not to answer it or not to view the text at that particular moment. So you have to determine what is a distraction to you and try to eliminate as many as you can at that given moment. You also have to determine how important the communication encounter is and how much you value that encounter and the relationship. And that can help you to determine, what sort of distractions you need to remove. Secondly, you need to understand the thought-speech differential. It's very interesting. Most speakers, on average, speak about 150 words per minute, unless you're talking about me. I talk a little bit faster sometimes. But really and truly, we can process a lot faster, up to 400 or 500 words a minute. So that means that we have a lot of time on our hands while we're listening. And if you know that ahead of time, and you can actually use that extra time to your benefit, like in engaging in things like shadowing, where you repeat things after the person says it in your mind and you follow after them by saying it after they do, then you can improve your attention. Thirdly, you can engage in vocalized listening. There are a lot of little things that you can do to improve your vocalized listening, like repeating messages to yourself or asking yourself questions, relating information to your needs and your interests, so trying to find some way that it intersects with your life. And then you can also use repetition of key ideas, just keep repeating them over and over and over again. And you can be active mentally and physically alert as well. Having a good posture by leaning forward and those sorts of things. So those are things that can help you in vocalizing your listening. Also, you can reduce listener apprehension. Some people, especially if they're anticipating a very stressful communication encounter, like if you ever had to listen to someone give you really bad news, you might have quite a bit of listener apprehension. It can be difficult to focus in those sorts of listening situations. So if you use something like deep breathing or mental rehearsal, where you try to rehearse the bad news you think you're going to get and how you may react to it, or if you just try to imagine things being more comfortable and calm, or if you try to engage in even muscle relaxation, it can be like something like systematic muscle relaxation, where you tighten each muscle group and then release. And that can help you quite a bit to be able to focus a little bit better. Maintain an appropriate mental attitude by being interested not just in what the person says, but the other person. And that can help you to really think about the listening situation as being positive rather than negative. And don't be scared of challenges. When someone has difficult information to present you or technical information, especially in a classroom where many people can feel like, oh, this is overwhelming, there's so much stuff, or this is so technical, I'm just not going to get it. Rather than having that sort of attitude that I can't do it, which actually is a negative self-fulfilling prophecy, don't be scared of a challenge. Really rise up to the challenge. Don't feel like you have to get everything. Just try to take it incrementally. You can be physically prepared to concentrate by having a good posture, sitting up, leaning forward, making eye contact with the other person. Also being physically prepared to concentrate means that you're well rested. You don't have physiological distractions such as hunger because you took the time to eat breakfast that morning or took the time to eat the appropriate meal in the day. Then also try to develop your appreciative listening skills because it can increase the amount of things that you enjoy listening to, helps you to identify those things that you like, and it can really expose you to a lot of different sounds and a lot of different activities and things that you would enjoy doing. So, test out a variety of genres of music. Go to iTunes and listen to the really short bites of sounds of songs that you can, and just try to expose yourself to more things that you might enjoy, because you never know what you will enjoy unless you try it. The whole old adage, if you don't try it, you don't know that you like it, right? So these are ways that you can improve your attention.